It's time for the Daily Stand Up Podcast presented by Agile Dad with your host, Lee Henson. Without any further ado, let's get started. Hello, everyone. It's time for our Friday Agile, Not So Agile episode of the Daily Stand Up. And I want to start with a story as usual. So, once upon a time, a very strong woodcutter asked for a job with a timber merchant. And he answered all the questions right and got the job. The pay was really good, and so were the work conditions. For that reason, the woodcutter was determined to do his best job always. His boss gave him a brand new axe and showed him the area where he was supposed to be working. On the very first day, he cut down 21 trees, which was way above average. Congratulations, the boss said. Keep on going that way, and you'll get promoted in no time. Very motivated by the boss's words, the woodcutter tried harder and harder. The next day, he only brought down 17 trees. And the boss told him, hey, that's excellent effort. You're doing great. On the third day, he tried even harder, but only brought in 10 trees. Day after day, he found he was losing more and more trees until he got down to 5 and 3. And the woodcutter turned to the boss and said, I don't know what to do. I must be losing my strength. He went straight to the boss's office and apologized and said, I really don't know what's going on. He says, I've always been, good at doing this task. He says, I don't understand. And the boss turned to him and smiled and said, when was the last time you sharpened your axe? Sharpen? Who has time to sharpen their axe? I've been so busy trying to cut all the trees. I think you see where the story is, right? This is one of those really no-brainer inspirational stories about how many times do we go through life where we're so focused on cutting down the trees that we miss the fact that it's time for us to sharpen our own skills or sharpen our own axe. And if we fail to do so, it's going to put us in a position where we are not going to be able to do more work and that the work we do diminishes over time. So, just like in the agile world, when I tell people that certifications are important, or that training is important, or that leadership training is important, and that it's important to get your teams involved in understanding things better, and it's good for them to refresh their skills, even if they already have certifications. It's good for them to refresh and to, tune back in so that they can relearn some of the things they may have forgotten. I think it's important for us to not be so focused on the effort that we're putting in day after day without sharpening our saw, only to find our skill set diminish. Um, it was funny because I was talking with a group of friends, and one of them had brought up to me, they said, have you noticed that a lot of employers are starting to pay people who join a team now, like new people, more money than they pay the people who existed for some time before? And I think their point was that there were people who worked for the organization in question who had been there for 1 to 3 years that were making less than the people who are signing on today. And they were trying to explain that this is probably the cause for the great resignation. At which point I promptly agreed and said, yeah, that is happening. And I don't know that skills are getting any better. I just think that it's a sign of the times. And if you are, on the flip side here, demotivated because you feel like you're working harder and harder and making less and less, the question is, are you taking the time to sharpen your saw and show your employer the value that you have? The irony behind this is tomorrow, I know I hardly ever work on a Saturday, but tomorrow I have a workshop that I'm going to be doing for finding a better job for some people for my church. And my hope is that through this workshop that people understand the importance of sharpening their saw, that they'll come to this day session with me and that they'll really enjoy what they're learning and that it'll be applicable in their lives, whether they're looking for a new job or just trying to upskill so that they can do better at the job that they're doing. So my challenge for you is to find one thing that you can do to sharpen your saw. Find one thing you can do to make life better. Find one thing you can do to make your journey easier, whether it's at home or at work. And I promise you, you won't regret taking the time to do it. I hope you have an amazing weekend. And until Monday, I encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.